Ramsey, and they couldn't close.
The board sideways. We're going to be underway with the first 250 heat, and out in front, zooming by.
Carmichael is down in the first corner.
Carmichael is down, and out in front is Kenny Yoho from Florida on a Yamaha, the surprise. And now taking over is Ezra Lusk.
There you saw.
There's Carmichael.
He's getting going. Albertine just getting going. Just before them, Tortelli was also caught up in that mess.
Brandon Cunningham was the big number, the 801 number in that picture. But out in front here in the opening qualifying try is Ezra Lusk right now. And Mike LaRocco is right behind him with Robbie Raynard, who has qualified well this year but hasn't done well in the main events. Nathan Ramsey is right behind him.
He's looking good, and I don't see anybody behind Ramsey right now that looks like they could threaten him for that spot, so he could see his first main event on the 250. What a good start for LaRocco. He sure has been, whatever he's been doing has been paying off.
Jean-Sebastian Waugh is in 5th spot in back of Ramsey. Would that be something in his first 250 main event after winning 3 straight 125s on the West Coast? He is on a roll, number 25 in the Split Fire Pro Circuit machine.
Well, I had just passed him in the hallway and said, geez, you sure look great on that 250 in practice. And he looked at me surprised, like, really, you think so? And geez, Art, I mean, he looked as fast as anybody out there.
You know, David, anything can happen in qualifying. And we saw earlier in the 125 qualifying heats, guys like Stefan Roncada, Callan Volan having to go to the last chance qualifier of the 125s.
It was all happening in the first lap, too. So the first lap here, claiming Tortelli, Carmichael, and Albertine.
So with Lusk out in front, the conclusion of our opening qualifier. Robbie Raynard second and third. LaRocco on the jack-in-the-box factory connector. Honda is being challenged now by number 17, Robbie Raynard. Team Suzuki to the inside. Raynard this year has already won 2 qualifying heats, and he moves into second place in front of LaRocco.
This track is really going to require perfect timing. That's what the balance and the timing of Raynard, I believe, is just a little bit better than the strength and power of LaRocco. This track really doesn't play into the favor of Mike.
At our field summary, you see Lusk, Raynard, LaRocco, and Ramsey are in the qualifying positions with Jean-Sebastian Waugh out of Canada not really getting up close enough to contend for that final qualifying spot. Emig is in 6th, so he needs to pass Waugh and Ramsey if he's to qualify. He still has about 5.5 laps to go.
There's Ramsey still running 4th. Interesting finish line corner this week. Just a big sweeper with a hump in the middle. No one's really figured out a way through there. Just kind of dog it around and try to get back on the tower, which is difficult to do because it's so slick. And Lusk, so far, Art, has just looked perfect.
Yeah, Ezra Lusk has really been interesting this year. Last week's win, his 3rd of the season, put him back in the points race. He's had 2 double-digit finishes. There's his mechanic, Mike Gossler, anxiously looking on.
You know, I think Lusk has just got to be smiling inside, knowing that he can have 11th and a 16th already in the season, just 5 races old, and still be so close to McGrath in the point standing.
Emig has passed Waugh, and he has about a 4-second mark to get to Nathan Ramsey. So Emig, that might be the interesting battle here coming up toward the end of this race. Here's our second place rider, Robbie Raynard, number 17. As I mentioned, Raynard has done an awesome job in qualifying, but David Bailey, he's gone backwards in the main events. I mean, seriously.
Well, it's expectation. He came off that World Supercross Championship. There he goes for that triple. This has been a difficult triple. It makes it look easy, but he came back to the series here, and a lot of eyes were on, a lot of extra pressure. So maybe he's having a little bit of what Wyndham has this year, just putting a little bit too much pressure on himself. All that expectation, and arms pump up. You don't ride like yourself.
The field is strung out. Robbie Raynard, his best race of the year was a 4th in Phoenix. He also won his qualifying heat to get into that main event. Here's LaRocco having all kinds of problems.
Well, he just didn't get a good drive coming out of the corner. And I talked with Mark Barnett a little bit. He's also about the track here tonight. He said that he wanted to make things just a little bit more difficult. Try to make these guys really have to think more and slam their way through instead of just timing everything perfect. It's given some of these guys a few problems so far.
For you Emig fans, he has just lost a second to Nathan Ramsey. Ramsey has stepped it up, knowing that he's in the final qualifying position.
And Ramsey isn't far behind LaRocco. We may just see him start to creep into that picture here in a moment. He has closed the gap.
Marty Reed, LaRocco's having his problems.
Well, this is not a Mike LaRocco track. We noticed that he got a good start, but he likes the tracks when they're a little softer, a little wetter. The kid that suppresses me right now is Nathan Ramsey. He's making that big triple. So far, the guys behind him, John Dowd and Jeff Emig, have yet to make that triple, that real tough one, and it's costing them dearly.
Emig, it looks like he's destined for the semifinals now, David Bailey, because John Dowd has passed him.
Well, it's got to be a little bit of a mental strain, really, to not have gone for that triple jump on the far side. The one that Marty just referred to, he still hasn't done it. He knows he's going to have to do that to be in contention.
White flag lap.
Watch Lusk work this section. He rolls this, triples, right over the top of that lap rider. That looked close, but he had it under control.
And here's Mike LaRocco as we switch back to Ezra Lusk, number 4.
This is where Ezra's been tricky. He's going to see if he does it again on the last lap. Watch him pull the front end up real high. No, he didn't do it that time. He's been pulling the front end up real high. He taps the rear wheel and jumps a little bit further up the track. I don't think he wants to tip his hand too much more with the guys on the line for Heat 2.
Have you ever seen Ezra Lusk more confident?
No.
He just has burning desire in his eyes, but he is very cool and calm, collected on the outside.
If I'd won 3 races out of 5 so far in the season, I'd be pretty confident too.
RC has gone from last up to 9th. You don't think he's running fast? Number 4 is our leader, Ezra Lusk. Lusk has 3 wins on the season. He is the leading rider as far as laps led this year in main events. He has led 40 of the 100 laps this year. We're getting ready for the checkered flag as Ezra Lusk comes up on a lapper. The checkers for Ezra.
May not be able to make it happen.
Okay, the board is sideways, and we're off for our second qualifying heat from Tampa, Florida. Look at that pack. That cavalcade of bikes. The 4-stroke of Jimmy Button goes bar to bar with Tim Ferry, the leading privateer. How about that Ferry?
You know, the first lap of practice, Ferry went out there and just attacked the track past McGrath. And he was acting like he was coming off a win. And look at him here. Look at him now.
He's a crowd favorite. This is the closest to his home track beside Daytona as you can get. And he's always raced well at Daytona. But the former 125 champion has the lead in this qualifying heat.
Something about that hometown, Art. I don't know what it is, but everybody seems to respond to it.
So it's Ferry, Jeremy McGrath, and Jimmy Button now our top 3.
The first turn is real interesting tonight because whoever gets there first doesn't necessarily come out first. Got a lot happening in there.
Damon Huffman is getting the challenge from Steve Lamson. This is Jeremy McGrath in second place, the points leader. A precarious points lead, 101 to 100 with Mike LaRocco. But he's in good position right now as we take a look at our leader, Tim Ferry. My goodness, what a year he's putting together without factory support.
And behind these guys at the back of the pack, looks like he's going to have to go to the semi as Mikel Pichon. Something's wrong with the right side of his motorcycle. He may have lost a foot peg.
His right foot hanging down as he goes down near the mechanics area. Here's our leader, Ferry, moving away from us. From Largo, Florida. And Jeremy McGrath is poised to challenge him in the whoops. Ferry missing one of the first whoops. And McGrath picking up. There's Huffman, 31. Number 14 is Kevin Windham.
And Huffman's got a freight train of talent on his tail. Windham, Lamson, who looked great in practice. Larry Ward.
Here comes Jeremy McGrath to the inside. Can't quite make the move on Ferry. Our second qualifying heat from Tampa, Florida. Tim Ferry and Jeremy McGrath going at it. Here's the move to the inside. And Jeremy can't even double.
I'll tell you, if that would have been the main event, Jeremy would have went right out there and parked Ferry if he had to, run him off the racetrack. But it's just a heat race. He's just letting Ferry know, hey, I'm here. You make one more mistake, leave that door open a little bit, I'm going to run right in there.
The top 3 have pulled away from the final bubble. It's Ferry, McGrath, and Button, number 10. Here you see Button on the left side of your screen. Fire through with that gurgle thunder of the 4-stroke. But it's Kevin Windham now behind Button after passing Damon Huffman. To the inside. But
wow.
Ferry comes back.
Ferry is fighting right. He's not intimidated at all. As a matter of fact, he had very little room to still do that triple. And he looked down at him all the way through the air like, what are you thinking? You're not going to pass me. This is my house.
David, doesn't he know this guy has won 5 championships in 6 years?
He doesn't care. He's saying, hey, don't you know this is my hometown? And I got to have it tonight.
We'll be right back with an exciting finish of our second qualifying heat here in Tampa, Florida, after these words. Mike on a corner. And he was passed by McGrath and Jimmy Button.
And you know what's funny about that to me, funny weird, is it's the easiest corner on the racetrack. Just nothing but a big sweeper. He went through there, and I don't know how he stalled it.
Still in good qualifying position, however.
Wow. McGrath just did something there a little different. The last guy pointed out was wheelie in that. Try to get all the way over that triple. McGrath just jumped it clean.
There you see Wyndham in 4th, the final transfer spot. Taking another look right here, David.
Well, Ferry's coming around this left-hand corner before the finish line. It's just a sweeper is all it is. He comes up a little bit short on that double. He tries to tuck the inside. And what messed him up was that bump right across the middle. It's a little hump there, and the suspension gets light, and you lose traction, and the back end just slid out from underneath him and stalled.
So he was able to get that no-lean Yamaha started again in 3rd position. Their top 3 riders are all on Yamahas. Jeremy McGrath, Jimmy Button, and Tim Ferry. The Team Honda number 14 of Kevin Wyndham is in 4th.
Watch Jeremy get the drive out of this corner for the triple. It took a long time before the guy started jumping this every lap. They get about 25 feet run at it and jump 65 feet.
Here's our 2nd place rider, Jimmy Button. Boy, that 4-stroke likes the slick ground, too. Lots more traction, bigger tires.
That is an advantage. However, I think a little bit extra weight advantage and the gyroscopic motion of all those heavy engine parts moving makes that bike a little bit more difficult to handle on this tight and precise of a track.
Ward is 7 seconds back in 5th as we take a look at the 4th place rider, Wyndham. So Wyndham really is carving out a handy lead for that final transfer spot with 3 laps to go.
Long ways back to Larry Ward. Look at him running the far left of that whoop section. That always bothered me a little bit because if you make one little mistake to the left, you're off the track. He gets around Ferry on the inside there.
Ali Seymour, Wyndham's mechanic, encouraging him on. Wyndham with no wins, no podiums, no hole shots. He's led a couple of laps this year, but he's had a tough season so far.
Well, he's looked great at times, and he always looks sharp in practice. I've picked him in my top 5 just about every week. But the main events, I really thought he had a great chance in Seattle, but something got to him there, and he faded.
He's been 2nd in the heat twice in qualifying, but has also had to go to the semifinals twice this year.
One of the riders being lapped up in the high berm there just about got parked as Button came through.
Here's Wyndham. And he's looking like he's getting back in sync now. That beautiful timing that we've been grown accustomed to seeing him on the track. McGrath, Button, Wyndham, Ferry. White flag.
And you see how close Wyndham has closed the gap up to Button now. I know it's the end of the race, and Button's probably figuring, well, you know, I got 2nd. Backed it off a little bit, but he can't afford to back it off much more because Wyndham is right there.
I tell you, even Keith McCarty, the Team Yamaha head man, was not too happy with the way Jimmy Button got so close to McGrath in the last week as it was a situation. Here's the battle for 2nd place right now.
While we take a look at this battle in the whoop section just before the finish line, Larry Ward has gone down, and he's not getting up too quick.
Larry Ward is down, so he'll at least go to the semifinal round. It looks like he might be hurt.
He's
As
up
Jimmy
on his
Button
own.
and Wyndham, the 3rd and 4th riders, on the final lap.
McGrath is going to approach the section just after this right-hander. He'll come down this long straightaway into the whoop section. I like how they did that. Across the start, they see the flags for Larry Ward. He's up on his own, started the bike. There he is.
There he is.
That's encouraging.
So Larry Ward fans, looks like he'll be able to go to the semifinals as the checkers fly for Jeremy McGrath. And for McGrath, that is his 4th heat win of the season. Our points leader goes to the main event with a good gate selection when we return. 8 riders have now qualified for our main event. Out of the qualifying heats, McGrath, Button, Wyndham, and Ferry, the latest 4. Let's go down and hear from Jeremy.
Well, in this heat race, Tim Ferry gave you a good run for the money, and the separation, the men and the boys, this track is a little bit tougher.
Well, like I said before, the track has a lot of 90-degree corners. It's very slick out there. You got to be smart. You know, the track is definitely really, really slick, and if you're not cautious, you could end up on your head. I think, you know, tonight's a time where you need the whole shot and you need to just ride smooth. If you get overly aggressive, you could be disaster.
The far corner triple over your right shoulder also is separating the difference also. There's a lot of guys that just aren't going after it.
Well, you know, we were doing that in practice today, and it's tough. It's a big jump, and I think the key to it is to get the drive out of the corner, and it's slick right now. I mean, I know I cased it once out there, so it's if you don't make it, it could be disaster.
Well, we'll see you in the main event.
All right, thanks a lot. I'd like to say Happy Valentine to my mom, my sister, and my girlfriend.
Are you worried you aren't going to be back here for the main event to do it then?
Hey, I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch.
He's smart, huh, Marty? He's seen a lot happen in this game despite his tremendous success. For sure, as we get ready for our 250 final here in Tampa. What do you expect, David Bailey? We've seen a lot of interesting action up to this point.
Well, the track, the design, and also the slickness of the surface, it just seems to keep getting worse. Pichon talked about the humidity and the moisture coming up out of it and all these slick spots.
In his interview talking about the slickness of the track after the qualifying heat, David.
Very difficult to hook up. First of all, these guys got to get through the first corner, which has gotten more and more slick as the night has worn on. And I think because you have to protect the inside line so much, it could possibly bunch all these guys up. We could see a real race.
Taking a look at the Suzuki starting grid, all the riders at the 20 gate positions here at Tampa. 20 laps of exciting action coming your way. Lusk opened the season with 2 wins. Jeremy McGrath broke that up with a win at Phoenix. Then it was a victory for Larry Ward. Ricky Carmichael coming back into the field after being injured in San Diego. Johnny O'Mara, the former champion, whispering in Ricky's ear, nodding, yes, I understand. Ezra Lusk coming off a victory in Anaheim, the last race. So it's anybody's guess right now as we zero in to number 1, Jeremy McGrath.
I don't think the start has been as important at any round so far this year until it is right now. This track, whoever gets the whole shot is going to have such an advantage because whoever's back there behind him is going to have to protect their line. That's going to slow the pace and allow whoever's leading it to get away.
Before the 30-second board goes up, let's check in with Marty Reed.
I want to show you one thing that may make the difference. One of the things that Mike Doster, his mechanic, has done. You see this little extra grooves that he put in here? Ezra says it's giving him a lot of extra grip, especially on the start.
Ezra Lusk looking very confident as we look down the starting line to the doghouse. The man inside that doghouse will flip the lever once the board goes sideways.
I think that guy gets nervous too. That's all waiting on him, on his shoulders to drop that gate. He's supposed to wait 5 seconds, but he usually goes around 6 or 7. He can't wait till 8 or 9.
It is kind of exciting in there. I was in there for one qualifying heat a long time ago. Okay, the fans are standing up. A chilly night in Tampa, but things are warming up real quick as our 250 main event is underway, and Ricky Carmichael takes it to the corner first. But right there is Ezra Lusk, number 4. Oh, what a great start as Jeremy McGrath is in 3rd. Jimmy Button battling with his Yamaha mate. Carmichael, Lusk, Button, McGrath, Wyndham, Emig. That's the order so far, but Tortelli after Emig, shutting out Pichon, Dowd, and Ward.
Well, you couldn't have asked for a better beginning of this race. You got Carmichael, the local favorite, possibly the fastest guy on 250 in the world right now. Lusk coming off his win. McGrath right there. All the best guys with great starts.
Pedro Gonzalez went down. He is in last place, trying to restart right now as we take a look at our leader, Ricky Carmichael. Could this be the breakthrough night before his friends and family here in Florida? Look at his mechanic, Chad Watt.
There's a lot of people, yeah. There's a lot of people, including myself, that thought he was going to win San Diego before that brief crash. Now he gets a chance to prove it.
Well, it was so depressing. Not only the accident that put him out of action, but it was obvious that he just turned the corner.
And McGrath has moved into third just to make this up.
Lusk having problems. Jeremy McGrath off the triple, but Lusk protects his territory. And so Ricky Carmichael is pulling a lead now.
This is what I was talking about, Art. Now you're going to see Lusk and McGrath riding a little bit more defensive race. Carmichael already starting to open up a lead.
Lusk wanting to stay in front of Jeremy to pick up some points. Get closer in the points race. That might be a bigger consideration than Carmichael out in front for Ezra Lusk.
It is for both these riders we're looking at right now. That Carmichael doesn't even figure into the overall championship, so the championship title is between these two riders right here.
LaRocco is in 10th place, and he's the guy that's only 1 point behind Jeremy in the standings. He had a very bad start, finishing the first lap in 12th.
I'm very impressed with the way LaRocco has started the season, but I really don't think that deep down in either one of Lusk or McGrath's minds, they took him serious. They knew that somewhere along the line, those bad starts were going to haunt him, and he hasn't been able to win yet.
Ezra Lusk went into the season hoping for no double-digit finishes. Well, now that's impossible, but it's wins like last week that are keeping him in the points race.
The guys are going so good, and there's so many people that's running up in the top 10 every week, and you have so many guys that want to race. And man, going in this year, I wanted to finish single digits all year long, and having two bad races like that, it's kind of made me upset with myself, and it's made me really a lot more eager and a lot hungrier this year, and I'm just ready to win races and try to play the whole season smart.
Ezra Lusk in second place behind the breakaway Ricky Carmichael.
What's happening right now is Lusk has actually gained a little bit of time. Starting to get a little bit of a lead over McGrath. And once he does that, he can afford to go to the outside, use the lines that are the fastest. Hopefully make this a battle for the lead.
Right. Just like in practice.
That's what you want to do. You want to tell your rider, look, just relax. It's no big deal. Even though it's a huge deal, you try to get him anchored into a place where he's more comfortable. And in practice, it doesn't really matter that much.
A 2.4-second lead, Ricky Carmichael at number 4, Ezra Lusk. And it's a 2-second lead, back to third for Lusk on Jeremy McGrath. Wyndham is picking up on McGrath.
I was just about to say, Kevin Wyndham has shown up here in Tampa. This is the kind of track where Wyndham really shines. The timing has to be perfect. It's very slick, throttle control. Plus, there's 2 long whoop sections, and being one of the taller riders out there, he can let that bike just work underneath him and stay on the top.
As you see the graphic, Jimmy Button is currently in 5th spot, staying ahead of Pichon. Let's check in with Marty.
One of the things we ought to point out about Jimmy Button, remember, he's just getting used to that 4-stroke and had his best finish last time out, a 3rd at Anaheim. He's getting the groove, guys.
Plus, this track really plays into the favor of that 4-stroke power delivery. It just gets slicker all night. Every lap is going to get worse. That bike's just going to hook up better and better.
Jimmy Button with 1 podium. His first podium was last week. And that was his first one since 3 races in a row last year at San Diego, Indianapolis, and Atlanta. And he just seems to gain more confidence all along on this 4-stroke machine as we cut back to the leader, Ricky Carmichael.
Carmichael's still flawless, but it's not good enough. Lusk is just inching up little by little, and if he's able to even stay the same.
1.9 seconds separates Ezra Lusk from this young man, Ricky Carmichael.
Yeah, even if that gap doesn't change, when they get into lappers, it's going to be the advantage of both Lusk and McGrath, and McGrath is really tighten the screws.
With 16 laps to go, that arm pump could mean a lot.
Well, you heard Marty earlier talk about Carmichael's arm starting to bother him at about 6 laps. This is 20. I guarantee it'll be a problem, and there's a lot of pressure on this young kid now, with these 2 guys bearing down on him.
Albertine is out of the race. He's behind the mechanics area as we see the battle for second place. Ezra Lusk, number 4 of Team Honda. He's got 3 wins on the season. And Jeremy McGrath, the points leader with 1 win on the season. Let's go back to Marty.
I'm down here with Greg Albertine, who's out. Man, until you fell, you had the lead in the heat race. Boy, then the whole night went to just crap.
It sure went bad after that. You know, I just couldn't really get things right. And felt like I was riding great, but just something happened every time. So bad start, bad finish, but I'm healthy and I'm happy about that. So
What put you out of this one?
well, just going through the whoops, and Lammy was right behind me, and I don't know, something just caught me a little off guard and spat me off. So not too happy, but thank the Lord I'm okay. So
See you next week.
thanks.
Just another chapter in a very disappointing season for Greg Albertine, David.
Well, at least he's positive on the note that he's healthy. I mean, he's not left Florida on a good note before. Twice in Orlando, a collarbone, so at least he's got his health.
Okay, with 14 laps to go, we might have an outstanding three-way battle for the lead here in this 250 main event. Oh, this is getting exciting. Just the anticipation. Ricky Carmichael, number 9, Team Kawasaki. Then Ezra Lusk, Team Honda, number 4. And then the number 1 plate of the Mazda Chaparral Yamaha of Jeremy McGrath.
This reminds me of what you see in NASCAR, where they get the best drivers together.
And Kevin Windham, a breakthrough. He's in for it. We'll be right back to see more of this exciting action in a moment. Art Eckman, David Bailey, Marty Reed from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. The excitement is swelling now to a fever pitch as you see Ezra Lusk climbing up near the back of Ricky Carmichael, our leader. Not too many fans sitting down here right now.
RC is going to be forced into the defensive mode. And there you see what the pressure does to you. A little mistake.
Tick to tough box.
That's not easy to do. He just made that look like that. That's no problem, but it's a problem. When you're jumping a triple and you land on the edge of the racetrack and move one of those tough boxes out of the way, you know you're pushing the envelope.
Ezra Lusk taking more of an inside line on that corner as we've got the lapper up in front.
It's only 3.5 seconds separating first to fourth right now, and they are going to start getting into lappers, and that will really change things.
With 13 laps to go. Look at that, Jeremy McGrath coming up to say hello to Ezra Lusk. McGrath regaining the points lead in Anaheim, 5 titles in 6 years. Jeremy leaps to give a look-see to Ezra Lusk.
Great design of this racetrack, and I think we're going to get to see that put to use these final laps. See where the passing is going to take place. I don't think any of these guys really wants to make a move just yet. I don't know if they think they can make it stick. Once you wait till the 15th, 16th lap, these guys start getting tired making poor decisions, that's when you can go for the move.
Mike Gosselaar trying to appeal to the Georgia native. Ezra Lusk saying just like home. He works out a lot on Ricky Carmichael's practice track.
Well, for RC to look over his shoulder and see one of his best friends, that's got to be a little more comforting than to see McGrath back there.
McGrath just waiting for an advantage. Jeremy McGrath cuts to the inside. Where the ball now with Ezra Lusk. Ezra slips back to third. Jeremy, who has won Tampa every other year that they've raced here in Tampa. And bingo, guess what year this is?
They lost last year, and Jeremy seems to keep up with those stats. He doesn't ever let us down.
And Windham is now on the tail of Ezra Lusk. The best race of the year, top 4 riders.
This is the cream of the crop right now. Lusk just made another mistake. That's going to allow Windham to get by.
Emig is off the track.
Windham triples right past his teammates, so Lusk, it's the pressure, a couple of mistakes, and that's all it took for him to lose 2 positions. Now he's way off.
And so now it's Carmichael with a showdown coming up with Jeremy McGrath. Windham in third, Lusk in fourth, and Jimmy Button on the 4-stroke in 5th place. 11 laps to go. Approaching the halfway mark.
I should have bet money on this race, Art, because the top 3, if they stay the way they are, it's what I picked just for fun with some friends before the race.
I have a feeling it's going to change.
I do too. McGrath will not be content to sit back there when it's this close.
And he's going to pick up some big points.
Well, what
What
he can do, though, Art, is put Carmichael between himself and Lusk and buffer that points lead by 3 more points. I know he's got that on his mind.
Randy Lawrence's mechanic leaning over. LaRocco, who started in 12th, is now up to 7th to give the LaRocco fans an update there.
This has got to be the fastest pace of the year. The only mistakes I've seen so far have been from Lusk. That just dropped him off the pace. Look at the gap back to Lusk now.
So we're halfway through the 20 laps. Carmichael holding up better than I thought he might with that injury. And Kevin Windham is looking to challenge Jeremy McGrath, number 14, looking ahead at number 1.
That's McGrath's ace right there, the inside in that corner. And look at Carmichael. He just covers that inside, jumps the triple from the inside, whips it a little bit, just kind of keep it all in front. You know, there's times when you get out in the race and you start holding too still. As soon as you can start whipping the bike around a little bit, you have a little more fun. You can relax.
Ricky having some problems. And knocking at the back door is Jeremy McGrath. 9 laps to go. Chad saying, come on, let's pick it up. Randy's saying anyway. Keep the pressure on. That was on Randy's board at that time. And Windham is right there too.
Boy, well, this is a great feeling for Windham now. This is different for Kevin because he's worked his way into this position. He's been patient. He's actually closed the gap. Now he's in contention where in the weeks past he's been up there in the beginning and dropped back.
His best was a 4th in the opener at Anaheim, and he's been very frustrated since that time. In the last race at Anaheim in round 5, he played with the flu.
Watch McGrath.
McGrath to the inside, gets Carmichael. Carmichael tries to come back, but he's going to have to go to the outside here. And a nice block, smooth move by Jeremy McGrath.
Yeah, Carmichael just wasn't hip to that the lap before. Otherwise, he'd have covered it. Carmichael knows exactly how to hold off that line. He just didn't realize McGrath was in there that tight the lap before.
So Jeremy
Here comes Kevin.
Right where he wants to be. And Kevin Windham makes the move on Carmichael into 2nd place. This is by far Kevin's best race of the year.
I don't think Kevin's finished with McGrath either.
Kevin with such natural ability, great timing, smooth rider, and a proven 2-time 125 titleist, changing over to Honda this year from Yamaha after successful times on a Yamaha.
Well, Kevin proved last year several times that he was faster than McGrath. He's just running away from him. Right now, it looks like he's got every bit the speed McGrath has. He's seen all his moves. He watched where he made his passes. He may have a little something for him in the final couple laps.
Windham was 6th after the first lap, and now he's moved into a tight 2nd. But Jeremy has got trouble if he doesn't ride a perfect race.
That's what, now the tables turn. Now the pressure is all on him. He's going to have to be smart getting through the lappers, but the good news for him is he won't encounter any lappers for quite a while now.
Ali Seymour, former rider himself. Windham's mechanics say, come on. Windham bobbling a bit there.
Good save. That's where Albertine went down, rode the front wheel for a while and just got crushed. Kevin coming up a little short. This track will just reach up and grab you. You heard McGrath say how perfect he had to be.
Let's take another look, David.
Watch Kevin right here. He's going to catch the top of that jump. Rides the front wheel a little bit, but that's just strength. He held the front end straight. If that front wheel would have got turned, he'd have been down for sure.
Carmichael and Ezra Lusk.
This is a fast pace. All these guys are riding all out. They're not holding anything back right now. It's just mistakes. A couple of mistakes by both Carmichael and Lusk dropped them out of the top 2 positions.
Jimmy Button still in 5th. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Guys, an update on Ricky Carmichael. I think maybe that right arm injury is starting to pump up because as he came by 2 laps ago, he shook his head side to side at Chad Watts.
That's when the mechanics, or the riders, need a signal board to tell their mechanics what's going on. That head shake could be just about anything. They just have to assume it. That's what happened last week. McGrath rode through the mechanics area. He's shaking his hand. It was motor mount bolts. Who would have guessed that?
Look at this out front. Kevin Windham battling with Jeremy McGrath. Windham.
Kevin has given McGrath everything he can handle, forcing him. As long as he keeps the pressure on him, McGrath has been steady so far, but he has made mistakes.
Look at the battle now for 3rd. Carmichael looks over to see Ezra Lusk, his buddy. Cuts to the inside. Ezra comes back. Oh, some great riding. Injury or not, a lot of guts there.
This is just a great racetrack. I liked it when I first saw it this morning. Great battle for the lead, a great battle for third. Plenty of places to get by.
Wyndham is looking for his third consecutive year with at least one win, if he can get by McGrath.
You know, McGrath doesn't have pressure this long in a race. Usually by this point, he's pulled away. So you think, well, McGrath is just so steady. Well, we're going to find out just how steady he is, because Wyndham is not going to leave him alone all the way till the end.
I had the same kind of feeling up in Seattle one year when McGrath was leading and Damon Huffman was giving him that constant pressure, Even took the lead on Jeremy for a slight moment, a couple of laps before Huffman stalled. And the pressure got to Huffman rather than Jeremy.
Right, and we'll never know how Jeremy would have responded in those final couple of laps. And we're approaching that now.
LaRocco has passed Pachon for 6th. So he's moving up the ladder a little bit as we take a look at the true battle for the lead. Jeremy McGrath. Once he's secured the lead, he has not given it up. But Wyndham is right there to take advantage of any opportunity and size him up for a pass.
Wow, what I'm impressed by Wyndham is the fact that he's able to stay this close. I mean, that's a lot of trust in the guy in front of you that he's not going to make a mistake somewhere, because if he does, Wyndham will get collected in it.
He's been the big mystery of the season. Wyndham cuts to the inside. Kevin Wyndham will have to battle him off as they look at each other coming over the triple. Incredible. McGrath.
Well, McGrath knew that Kevin was going to try to just put on the brakes and square back underneath him. No way. He just parked it, rode right through there casually, and Kevin was smart. And I've seen riders go down when you just flirting with the very top of that berm up there, and stuff gets loose, and you can lose the front end real quick.
Kevin Wyndham, the mystery of the season. This is more what we expected from him. Look at him go through those whoops.
Just letting that bike dance all around.
Okay, 3 laps to go. Only 3 laps to go. Randy Lawrence saying think. And a great battle is underway.
Boy, when Kevin does that triple, approaching this triple, McGrath is only doubling it. He's just about rubbing the knobs off his back tire, but he does it just to stay close. When you got a guy this close to you can feel it. And McGrath is not riding his race now. He's riding
Here
Kevin's.
goes Wyndham to the inside. Wyndham has taken advantage of many riders in this race right there.
Beautiful move by
tap.
Kevin.
The fans are on their feet screaming.
Kevin had just a few more feet that time of a lead on McGrath getting into the corner, just shut the door. They actually touched tires.
Kevin Wyndham has taken the lead for the 2nd time this year. He has led 2 laps. That was in Seattle. But that was early in the race. Not with 3 laps or less than 3 to go.
He's already opened up just a little bit of breathing room right now. If he can continue to do that, I think it'll break McGrath's spirit. Jeremy might just go back to the, well, at least I'm ahead of Ezra mode. Think about the points.
As LaRocco just tries to fight up the ladder from a poor start to cut the losses. As we take a look at the field summary, Wyndham, McGrath, Lusk, Carmichael, and Button. Ricky Carmichael still hanging in there in 4th. That's very admirable for the condition he's in. Jeremy McGrath in 2nd place is losing ground to Wyndham. McGrath was looking for his 54th win. And Ezra Lusk in 3rd place.
McGrath has got to worry now that he doesn't drop off the pace, get frustrated by what had just happened to him from Wyndham, because Lusk is probably the fastest finisher in the sport. Those final laps, Ezra is just on fire, and he can see McGrath right now. It's all the inspiration he needs.
Kevin Wyndham, number 14, was the first full-time 125 rider to win a $250 million. That was back in '97 in Charlotte. The white flag is coming up, and the white flag has been waved. This is the final lap. That's Tortelli being lapped by Wyndham.
Well,
what a thrill this must be for this young man.
Watching Ramsey on the West Coast get those wins, that first win really did it for him. Just changed his whole mindset. This could do the same thing now for Kevin if he can hang on.
That's Steve Lampson, Jeremy McGrath's teammate. The heel clicker. That's confidence with Jeremy McGrath about 4.5 seconds in back.
We just may see another one. There's another triple to go.
This could be Honda's first win since '93. Jean-Michel Bale won 3 in a row here, if you count the St. Petersburg area.
McGrath's off the hook for second now. Lusk is back way off the pace.
The checkers are ready. The first win of the season is underway for number 14. His 4th career Supercross victory. And a different winner once again. In our Supercross season, Ali Seymour, look at the smile on the big guy's face. Wyndham becomes the 4th different winner in 6 rounds this year.
Well, we told you the field was deep this year. There's his fiance now, Dottie. She's happy. She knew he had it.
Bobby Moore of FMF, the support team, coming up to congratulate Kevin Wyndham. There are a lot of people happy that this young man is living up to his potential because he has lived a very frustrating part of the first early season moments.
Well, when you can respond and figure it out, though, that's what makes a champion.
Okay. It's going to be interesting as we see Wyndham and his mechanic ride the track. Jeremy McGrath adding to his points lead here this evening in Tampa. And we'll be back. Marty will be talking with both riders when we return. We're back at Tampa, Florida. After such excitement, Kevin Wyndham, his first win of the season, his 4th career victory. Jeremy McGrath in second, extending his points lead to 8 points. And Ezra Lusk in third, Ricky Carmichael fourth. A terrific battle for Ricky Carmichael. Jimmy Button in the top 5. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
And down here with a very happy Kevin Wyndham. And this is the Kevin Wyndham we used to know. Welcome back to the winner's circle.
Boy, it feels good. And, man, everybody's been asking, you know, what I was doing wrong. And, you know, I bet you it looked from the outside looking in and I wasn't in shape. And I really just wanted to go out and really just prove that I can do it. And that's the difference. I finally started relaxing. And, you know, I didn't go out and shoot for the win. I just went out to ride my best. And fortunately, that was enough. But it's unbelievable the difference, you know, going out and riding comfortably and fighting the bike. And, you know, the guys at Honda really stuck behind me. And, you know, the bike's just working great for me. And I'm glad I could finally put him on top.
David Bailey said during the race, this is the most consistent pressure Jeremy McGrath has ever had on him. And you ended up passing him.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. I was right there behind him. And I said, man, I just stuck in behind him, and, you know, he started passing up through, and fortunately I was able to get through with him and stay with him. And, you know, I told him after the race, I said, I know you wanted to win, but, man, that was a good race. And we're in the air, you know, we're, you know, good friends, and we don't, you know, let any of the colors come between us. In the middle of the race, we're sitting there yelling at each other over the triples, and, you know, it's nice to go out there and have a good race like that.
Well, congratulations on a great win. We'll see you next week in Atlanta.
Can't wait. Thanks.
Well, Wyndham's win will leapfrog him up the ladder. There's no question about that as we take a look at the Suzuki point standings. Jeremy McGrath now has an 8-point lead, according to our quick calculations here in the booth. 123 points to 115, Larocco, and Lusk with 110. So Lusk is still there banging on the door, David Bailey.
Well, he's going to play it smart. You know, I mean, he's learned from his mistakes in the past, trying to go for a little bit more when it just isn't there, and you end up with an 11th or a 10th or way out of the points. And now he's apparently learned his lesson. He wants to go for the title.
Let's go back down to Marty on that podium.
Down with Jeremy McGrath, and they were high-fiving each other, the winner, Kevin Wyndham, and it was a great race for us. How was it for you?
Well, it was a good race. I bummed I'm not on the top of the podium here, but, you know, actually Kevin rode a great race. You know, he's been having a little bit of problems this year, and he put it together tonight. My bike was working good. Chaparral 800 Click, Mazda Yamaha was working great out there. It's a pretty slick track, and we were getting close together out there and screaming at each other, and it was a fun race. But I think my downfall tonight was the whoops. I was kind of squirrely in the whoops.
Well, everybody else was having problems with the triple. This was a more technical track. You've been screaming for them all year long. You finally got one, a real tough one here.
Yeah, I think what made the track so tough is the consistency of the dirt. It was really super hard pack, makes it really slick, and as it got nighttime, it brought up a little bit of dampness, so it was slick out there. And not only having to do the jumps, you're having to worry about sliding and all this stuff like that. And I'm happy with my finish. You know, I need to keep beating Ezra to extend my points lead, and wish I could have got those 3 more points with Kevin, but it's all right. Get him next week.
We'll see him then, guys.